What is up, everybody? Coach Juma here, head nutrition coach and trainer at Stupid Fit, and today we're going to have a complete chest training breakdown. We're going to talk about the different aspects of the chest, the different sections that make up the chest, how to train them, and what to look for when you're setting up any machine or any exercise to target the aspect of the chest that you want to target. A lot of people look at the chest as one giant muscle, but there's really three parts to that muscle. There is the clavicular aspect of the chest, the sternal aspect of the chest, and the costal aspect of the chest. Those are the technical terms for it. I always like to go with the basic nomenclature that you're gonna see on most machines in the gym and how most exercises are gonna be named, which translates to the clavicular being the incline aspect of the chest, so the upper chest, the sternal being the flat chest, which is the main middle chest, and the costal being the decline aspect of the chest, which is going to be across the bottom of the chest. Each of these are going to require different stimulus and different training angles to target each one. And if you're not actively training each part, you're going to have a gross imbalance of one part of your chest over another, which is never what anybody wants. Going into the breakdown, we're gonna actually talk about machine training and machine loading first. When it comes to chest training, you need to be mindful of what aspect of your chest that machine is training so that you know how to position your body and your elbows so that it's actually hitting that part of the chest and not causing you any kind of excess shoulder irritation or shoulder joint stress. Because for a lot of people that train, they have shoulder issues whenever they train chest and they think that's normal, but that's not normal. Just because it's common, just because a lot of people experience it, doesn't mean you have to experience it too, and it doesn't mean that you have to suffer through it with your training. So being smarter with how you approach your chest training is going to help mitigate and minimize any injuries you're gonna face around your shoulder joint and even your elbow joint as well. We have two examples of machine pressing here, an incline and a flat aspect. So again, that's gonna be the clavicular, which is the incline, and the sternal aspect, which is the flat. Both of these are gonna require different elbow paths to travel through to actually target that muscle. If we're going with the clavicular or incline aspect of the chest, you're going to wanna start with your elbow lower to your side and pushing upward in this kind of plane of motion. If you want to train the sternal, you want to start with your elbows directly to your side and keep them in that plane of motion, straight line forward, just like with a flat dumbbell bench, a flat barbell bench. You're just pushing in a straight direction above your chest and back to your chest. Now, the main thing here when looking at setting up your exercise is making sure that you set the seat up so that your chest is lined up with the handle. The muscle that is in line with the handle at any given point in any given exercise that is pushing, you're going to be training that aspect of the muscle. So if you had it higher up, closer to your neck, around your shoulders, and you push forward, you're not gonna be training chest there. You're not gonna be training your upper chest there. It's going to be mostly the anterior shoulder, so the front of the shoulder, more than anything else. So making sure that you're positioned where the handle meets your middle chest is going to be really important. And this is true for any kind of machine that you train for chest. Some machines will also give you the option to move yourself forward or backward, which will give you a greater stretch in your chest while you're pressing. Now, you don't want to be too far back. The best gauge for this, if you have this option on a machine, is to make sure that you have room to bring your hands off of the handle. That ensures that you have enough space to actually be hitting your chest, your shoulders are in line, and your elbow isn't going to be influenced. So you're not putting your shoulder in a compromised position that's gonna put you at a higher risk of injury. Whereas if you put yourself so far back just for the sake of getting more of a stretch and you can't bring your hands back, you need to compensate by hunching your shoulders forward, bringing your rib cage down, and now again, you're not going to be pushing with your chest too much at the furthest point, and your shoulder is going to be impinged on itself, causing, again, a lot of stress and irritation, which is something you completely want to avoid while chest training. The two key points here with machine training is making sure that you have your seat at a height where the handles are meeting at your chest, and if the back is adjustable forward and backwards, you have space once you're gripping the handle to bring your hands off the handles at the end range of motion. It's pretty simple to follow the path of the machine while you're training with the machine because it only goes in one fixed motion. So no matter what you do, you'll always be training your chest to some capacity, even if it's not through the full range of motion. With cables and dumbbells, however, there is a lot more leeway, and you knowing where to position your elbows becomes that much more important so that you can actually hit the muscle you're trying to hit, the part of the chest that you're trying to hit. Now we're gonna break down how to hit the different aspects of your chest with a cable or a free weight exercise. We're gonna be using cables here as an example, but this applies again, just the same for free weights. As long as you keep your elbow path for the aspect of your chest that you wanna hit and maintaining those principles that we discussed earlier. So we're gonna be starting off here with the incline press first. For most people, when they hear incline, they think higher up, but you're actually going to want to be pushing up. So whenever you have a cable set up, you want the cables to be set up toward the bottom so that you can have your elbow position in line with the wire of the cable as you push upward toward your face, not too high up. Again, if you go too high up, that is going to be shoulders. You want to go forward and to face level, contracting and squeezing your chest at the top, bringing your elbows closer together before spreading them back out and creating that stretch that you want. Again, you never want to go too far out, just a comfortable distance that gives you a good stretch without causing any stress on any of your joints. So if we're going to be hitting a flat chest press with the cables, we want the cables to be in line with our chest so that when we push forward and bring it back, the cable is always in line with our forearms, is at the same plane, at the same level, and you are pushing in a straight line. Again, when we hit flat, we do want to keep it in front of our chest the entire time, bringing it together and squeezing the elbows at the top and bringing it back down for that final stretch. And with the decline, it's gonna be the opposite of the incline. So we're actually gonna start with the cables higher. Your elbows are gonna be a little higher up and you're gonna be pushing downward towards your belly button. And this is gonna help attack that bottom aspect of your chest. And again, this principle applies for any kind of medium that you're gonna be using to hit the chest. Whether that's dumbbells, cables, kettlebells, or whatever movement you wanna use, your elbow positioning and the elbow path that you take is going to indicate what part of the chest you're hitting. Let's go over the simple summary here. When we chest train on a machine, we want to make sure that the height of the seat is always in line with our chest. And if we can adjust the seat forward and backwards, we always want to make sure that we have a little space to take our hands off of the bar. We don't want it to be too far back and give excessive range of motion to any one exercise. If we're going to be hitting this with cables, dumbbells, or any kind of other medium, we want to make sure that we are intentionally hitting the aspect of the chest that we want and our elbow path matches that. So if you're going to be hitting this with cables, the cable should be in line with your arms following the same elbow path that you are while pressing. If the cable is in a different position and isn't following that, you're doing the wrong thing, you're putting stress on your joints that don't need to be there, and you're not hitting the muscle that you want. Your training isn't effective at all. So I'd love to hear what you learned from this. If you have some insights that you want to share in the comments or questions about anything that I talked about, feel free to share that down below in the comments and I'll be sure to respond to you. Otherwise, please make sure to subscribe. We're dropping new videos every week, and always remember to stay stupid.